Hello there everybody, we're gonna get started in just a second. I'm just adjusting some things. I've missed all of you, it's been quite a while. I did take a little bit of a break because I wanted to let my arm rest while I was having a lot of commissions. For those of you who don't know, my commissions are open. I make emotes and stuff like that for other streamers, whether you're on Facebook gaming or you're on Twitch. So I had a lot of stuff to do for that, but today we will be doing a more art requests for the leaderboard or my community on Facebook gaming. So while we get all that situated, let's go over to the ArtStream FAQ. David, I see you. Hello, thank you so much for stopping by. Here's two examples right over here of some of the things I've done in the past. Clearly we like to play Pokemon and other things. I can't wait for Pokemon Scarlet coming out later. Also, it's been a while since I've used this setup, so do let me know if you cannot hear the music or if you're having a hard time hearing me. I chose these two as an example because today's request from the Facebook gaming community was a sunset sky, so I really like doing clouds and gradients in the sky, so we're gonna have a lot of fun with that today. These two we use Copic marker, but I'll be using some watercolor paints today. As I did mention, my commissions are open, and I do predominantly stream on Facebook gaming, although I am moving my art content here, and I hope to be a little bit more consistent with my YouTube content in the future. In the meantime, if you want to see all of my links, like my Ko-fi, my Facebook, and my Twitch, and my Discord, I'm gonna go ahead and drop this link here in the chat, and it will be pinned in the comments, so you can access it at any time. I promise I don't bite, so if you want to hang out with me or ask me any questions, I'd be happy to chat with you. Ciao. Let's get this party started. Alrighty then, so we're going to be doing the sunset sky in sort of a Polaroid-like shape. So I've already taken the liberties of just cutting out the Polaroid shape itself, using it as a template. And we're going to start with this right here. I've also realized that my art is 3 by 3 inches, which also means that it's the exact size of a post-it note. So to kind of save us some time, I've peeled off a decent section of a post-it, and I'll be tracing that. I also realized there's two sides of this paper, and I actually wanted to use the other side, so it's good I didn't commit to that for too long. All right, nice. Gonna recenter this, and then we're gonna use some handy dandy washi tape. I like getting the packs that are pretty cheap on Amazon. I don't have to leave my house, I can stay safe at home, and they're really pretty. This one actually has a lot of like gold foils in it. Hi Beth! I got your message in admin, thank you for popping by while you can. I see you. I see you right there in the post-it note. I hope all has been well. We're gonna do some sunset skies today. Also, if you're interested in watching me do digital artwork, that is actually a Ko-fi exclusive. So if you'd like to support me monthly, you can drop by the Ko-fi link in the pinned comment with the link tree. And as long as you put 5 It's what? It's $5 a month. You get access to a whole lot of stuff. Namely, digital art streams every week. I draw for like 9 hours on Sundays. And that's where you get the sneak peek of other people's like merchandise and logos and emotes and stuff like that. This week I actually did a lot of emotes for our dear friend on Twitch, Captain Eclipse Live. And it was recently his birthday. My birthday is actually this Sunday. Not Sunday. It's actually this Saturday. It's all good, Beth. I just really need help with the shares, if you could do that. So right now what I'm doing is I'm putting the washi tape down. Washi tape is, one, really pretty, but two, resistant to water mediums, and will leave a really, really nice border. I'm noticing we're gonna have to do a little bit of lighting adjustment because of the washi tape, actually, though, because it's picking up the shine on the gold foil, so it's messing with that a little bit. There we go. All right, let's see what we can do about this lighting. It's very dark. I think it actually has to be exposure. There we go. Yeah? Yeah. Let's double check the color. Good stuff. And also double check the focus. There we go. Excellent. All right, we are ready to partay. This first request is from Candace. I chose this washi tape in particular because it has a lot of ocean themes, and they wanted a sunset sky with like the silhouette island, which is a very classic. It's a very it's a very classic request. You see those on like street art, like when you're at the beach and stuff like that. Oh no, I'm glad you didn't miss it and that you're not gonna get in trouble. Were you able to get the shares done? I kind of, I hope I answered your questions in admin. I answered that in admin. It's just like the usual. If you scroll up a bit, it's just a copy of the link. You literally just take the link on the URL and then go to each group and then write something like you usually would. So let's see. Oh, and okay, when you tag on Discord, you gotta tag the role. But I got you. Oh, I can't actually because it's gonna mess with my thing. Please don't forget to do art lovers when you're tagging in the stream tags. Hi, Amanda. We are doing, you know those classic, like, sunset sky things? That's what we're gonna do today. So they wanted, like, sunset sky. We're gonna have to do, like, a horizon line, I think. So I want to do, like, my lightest. Yeah, we're gonna do the lightest. Maybe some pinks. I always like to have a handy dandy little test paper. I'm gonna start with our lightest bits. I want to do like pink and purpley clouds. Very hard to see. So when you're doing watercolor, a lot of times you start from your lightest colors and then you go to the darker ones. very, very delicate at first. Let's see what this purple looks like. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's like similar in hue. So I've already kind of flooded the areas that I wanted for the clouds. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some depth into them. The purple I'm gonna use for the shadow. With this set, I'm also probably gonna have to use some yellows and some orange, especially when it comes to the whatchamacallit, the sun, the lighting, the warmth. Which the pinks will definitely help out with a lot of that warmth that we're looking for, but at the same time I want to bring in a little bit more of the warmer tones because the pink is going to blend in a lot with this purple. We might be able to do a lot of different watercolor requests today based off how simple some of the other ones are. How are you doing though, Amanda? How's work today? Let's see if I can get the orange. Orange and reds, orange and reds. Can you hear me all okay, by the way? Hopefully the music isn't drowning me out. Oh, that's great. Do you know Alan in IRL, in real life, by any chance? Thank you for recommending me, Beth. It's really sweet of you. Hopefully, hopefully Josh was able to get the memo with the... Oh yeah, that's nice. Whatchamacallit? With my schedule. So here I'm getting the like reflection on the water. I'm just doing the lighter bits first. And of course there's bounce light that the clouds would pick up. So there's gonna be some yellow in the clouds as well, which when they mix is going to naturally make a little bit of the orange hues that we were looking for. When it comes to sunset time, the reason why there's a lot of silhouette is that the light source is behind. So anything in front, especially during times like this, it's going to naturally silhouette. So if it's like sunset time, the foreground isn't going to really be seen. Oh, you sent it to him? That's so nice of you. That's a good friend. It's really awesome. So the thing with watercolor is that if you work too quickly and you rush yourself, so right now I want to maintain the look of these clouds and this sun. I'm waiting for it to dry. I'm just waiting for it to dry a little bit. Because if you can see the wetness and the glare here, if you're going to add color around it, water is what you call cohesive. So it's going to attach itself and it's going to mix, and that's how you often get like muddy colors. So watercolors has to be done in layers. What I can do though is I can experiment off on the side what shades of blue I would like. That's a really nice blue, but I'm looking for maybe that can be like an undertone, but it's too bright. I want a little bit of contrast, especially like at the top. As we get closer to the bottom, I'm thinking we can mix this in a little bit of the yellow, but that's gonna make it kind of like sickly sea greenish. Yeah, that's like a light like periwinkle green, and I don't want that. Oh! Oh, excuse me. That's too, like, stereotypically blue, I think. I want something, like, closer to purple, like a blurple. That's a nice royal blue. Still not quite the one I'm looking for. That's just straight purple. I might have to mix something. See, this paint is still wet though, so no need to rush. Can work things through. That's a nice purple. Okay, so I found the two shades that I like when they mix together. So it's this recent purple. And I'm going to use the tray with my watercolor tin. The lid is actually designed so that you can mix your colors on there. It's not supposed to be pristine and like clean. They have like little pools, like divots, where you can experiment and clean those. Make sure when you're mixing though, you're washing your brush in between every single one. And you're using clean water so you don't ruin the actual like palette that you're working with. Still needs a little bit more purple in my opinion. So I'm gonna bring a little bit of that back in. That's nice. Okay. So it's still a little bit damp, but that's okay for me in terms of this because I don't want it to... It's okay if it blends a little bit. I just don't want it to like mix entirely. You know what I mean? So I mixed a lot of the same color because I want the gradient to be really clear. So I'm just gonna do like a little wash around all of these. And that other color that I had earlier is gonna be really good for like down here. No matter the time of day, for whatever reason, the sky gradient so that the lighter color is on the bottom. The water is really, really dark, so that original blue, like on its own, would actually be really good for just like the bottom part of the sea. Snug in the dark and you can't see. So you can have like an actual horizon line here. So what I'm doing is I'm just blocking out the colors. This is one of the first ones I've done on stream where it doesn't actually have a line art and I'm going straight in and just like actually painting the entire thing. So now that I've blocked out the colors with a bigger brush, I'm actually going to bring in a detail brush. A much smaller brush in order to do the rest. See what's happening here is that cohesiveness I was literally just talking about. So I'm just blending it a little bit on the bottom, adding a little bit more water. What you can actually do is you can tear a piece of napkin or like absorbent paper and dry the spots around it as well if you want to make like more of a splotchy effect, which is helpful a lot for clouds, for instance. So for example, like right up here, I'm gonna wet it a little bit and then I'm going to crumple up a bit of napkin and kind of pap it a little bit. See that? Also, a little bit of the clouds would reflect in the water as well. Don't be afraid to add a little bit of color into your ocean so it doesn't look a little bit flat. So how's everybody doing? Oh, you saw the follow come through. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I was a little bit distracted with trying to do the clouds, I think. Thank you for letting me know. Do you know if you'll want to join Mario Kart tonight? I see. Well, we'll have to definitely see. I put in as much orange as I'd like. Is he on Facebook or Twitch? Hello? Hi, Josh. It's me, Angie, as a PNG tube. It's nice to see you again. Did you have a good weekend? Neat, neat. I see you at the wave. This is some of my art content. Typically I do, what's it called? Yeah, typically I do a sketch and then line art and then I transfer it over, but this latest Facebook gaming request from our leaderboard, which is, remember when I asked you when you first joined in, like, what team did you want to be in? So the person who requested this wanted just like a sunset painting, which I think is better just done painted in, you know? Do you like to do any arts or crafts? I think next time I'll do like washi tape down the middle too for something like a horizon line. And then while this is what I'm gonna pick some of this up so it has like a little bit of texture and like water. I figured it out. Oh, I'm so glad. It's always good to talk to you. They wanted an island sunset, so the island's probably gonna go like in the front here, and then we can do some like silhouette palm trees and whatnot. But that comes after it dries, for sure, for sure. Let me get some references. There's a lot of like overlapping yellows over here close to the sun. blend it in a little bit. Add some more of those pinky purples. A little bit more of that blue at the top. Kind of contrasts the top part of the sky. You're too critical of yourself? I think that's the mark of a true artist, to be honest. We don't improve unless we are critical of ourselves and know where we can improve for the next times, you know? Like, which parts need more contrast? Why am I not happy with my art piece? Thank you. What can I do to make it better? Is it something that's gonna need an extra day? Is it something that I can do now? A lot of times it takes patience. Really depends on the medium you're doing too. Like a Bob Ross painting. Yeah, almost. Each request kind of takes a different technique. Gonna bring in some purples at the top. Skies are, again, gradients, darker on the top, lighter on the bottom, really no matter what time of day, for whatever reason. You like to write. That's awesome. I'm not much of a writer myself. So I really look up to anyone who can actually, like, write a decent story. You know what I mean? These sections here could use a little bit more blue. Could round this off a little bit more. I'm gonna use my smaller brush to do that. I'm sweating this area a little bit too much, so I'm gonna wet it again to pick up the pigment and then run it across to blend it through. The yellow could be helpful as like a glow right at the horizon line. There we go. Angie, you have many talents, girl. Watching you paint is really a zen feeling. Yeah, it's really different. I used to do these on Facebook, but there's no art tag on Facebook, and I wasn't really updating my YouTube. And it's always good to just, you know, not put your eggs in one basket. So long as you're not multi-streaming, you're not going to get in trouble in terms of like your affiliate status. If you're in Facebook Level Up or if you're on Twitch or something like that. Multi-streaming is where you can break contract, but as long as you're dedicating each platform to something different, you should be good to go. I only mentioned this because I know you were mentioning that you wanted to do something like next year. You have your page up and you're getting prepped up and stuff like that. I've been drawing since I was very little. I think the first things I drew were foxes and flowers, which, thinking about it today, isn't very different than what I do. So that's kind of funny. I'm gonna blend this white in because I want it to be more of like the sun coming out. I'm gonna go in and add a little bit more. I'm gonna just blend all of this together and then put back the sun a little bit because it's looking too much like an egg with the hard edge of that white. It's just gonna be art and painting for like a good while, so 3 hours. Typically I do these a little bit earlier in the day, like around 11 to 3 for about 5 hours, but this week is a very wonky schedule, and then the following weeks I won't be here because I have a work gig at Google. So I'll be doing that, unfortunately. There we go, yeah. I don't want it to be like so hard edge with the sun, because if you look at the sunset, it's like they're very hazy. If anything, I could go in and like splotch in like some haze around it, but not outline it. What's up? It's 3% Ninja. Let's see. Three. Is this Dan? Is this our Dan the Man, but not Dan the Man on Facebook? The Dan that also goes by Dan the Man, but not Dan the Man the streamer, but 3% Ninja. Do you have pictures of that, Dan? You know, life issues comes in threes is what they say, right? So we're hanging in there as much as we can. I'm still fundraising for my boyfriend's medical expenses, so that's super stressful, Bobeso, and we still have bills coming in and all that stuff. But art is like therapy, you know? Art therapy feels good. It's been a while since I've been on YouTube because my arm has been hurting and I didn't want to exacerbate the my arthritis. So many Dans. Well, it's not so many Dans, it's just 2 Dans, but you both have the same exact nickname. How about 99% Ninja? Gosh, Beth. JK. Oh, that looks cute. You also changed your Facebook to Dan the Man? Oh, that's gonna be really confusing because there's a page called Dan the Man and you're not that Dan the Man. Wait, you're like your gaming page or your profile? There we go. That's like the right kind of haziness I'm looking for, you know? I'm like, wait. Your profile. Oh my gosh. I was like, how is that even gonna... Oh, you know what? It would let you because his URL is not... It's not Dan the Man. It's like Thungaga or something like that. But the display name is Dan the Man. Y'all confuse me. My goodness. Going in with water to blend the edges, because again, these are clouds. I don't want them to be too hard-edged. These are always fun because I just sort of like feel them out, you know? Can do with a little bit more pink in places. Splotchalotches in the sky. That's a very scientific, artsy term, splotchalotchities. How did you get your name, 3% Ninja? I'm very curious. Want kind of this like warm atmosphere no matter where you're looking at. Okay, at this point, I'm gonna have to really wait for it to dry. I think that the sky is pretty solid, but I want to make the water a little bit darker for that bit of contrast. I was thinking of a name for the longest time and my phone beeped and I had 3% battery on my phone and I just figured Ninja sounded cool and thus 3% Ninja was born. Well, that's exciting. I love hearing people's different stories and their lore. But I like it just the way it is. Just like I like you, just the way you are. Sorry, fam, I had to go a little Mr. Rogers there. Behold, we are now literally watching paint dry. Enjoy. Oh, I also have these pens. So it's really important to test out different mediums if you're gonna do something like mixed media. I totally forgot I was gonna try doing some of this. But this one is not actually waterproof, so it blends when it's wet. It like blurs it ever so slightly. You see that? But it still maintains a little bit of the shape, which is kind of nice when you want a softer line art. But now that I'm kind of looking at it, I just kind of like the way I did it with my instincts, and so I might not, but I do have these. Not even sure what brand these are really. It was just something that one of my friends gave me because she wasn't really using them. I'm also always up late at night. Oh, so like a ninja? I like it. Picasso. What is this? An art project. I like it. Picasso. I'm going in with a semi-dry brush, and then I'm gonna go in with the water underneath so it doesn't do the thing I was trying to fix the whole time. Because if I wet it under, as long as there's like a layer, at the top that is dry, it's not going to blend into the other ones. And we want a kind of a distinct horizon line. Anyway, Josh, how have you been? Did you have a busy weekend? You've been drawing anime characters? Love that. Which anime characters? I just caught up on Spy Family. The next season comes out in October, very, very soon. I decided I don't like how far down that goes. And I want to drag in these a little bit more, but it's gonna need a very dry brush. To look more like a reflection, you know? So we're gonna have to break up the lines here to achieve that look. Play around with like really nice contrasts. This whole part here is gonna be black, so I'm not too concerned about covering that very much. Dragon Ball fan fiction manga. What kind of anime do I draw? I draw my own anime style, but I mean, pretty much if anyone asks me to do anything in particular, for example, here's Pokemon Arceus. I do all sorts of styles. That's why I like taking requests, because it's like hard for me to choose. But I have been drawing like forever as well, and I've been inspired by a lot of different things. So if someone's just like, draw me an anime, I just kind of default to my own style, unless people specifically ask, draw my character in Pokemon Arceus, or draw Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z, or draw Netsuko. You know what I mean? Then I can reference it, and then I can pretty much replicate that style pretty well. Have I ever drawn a manga? That's a great question. I have, but not officially. You know, like when I was in middle school, high school, college, they'd always be like, find a way to like present this in like an art style or whatever. So like, being the weeb that I am, I was like, I'll just make like a manga basically, and I'll draw the panels. So it wasn't like anything official, but it was like stuff I did while in school. Same thing with like the concept of a children's book. It hasn't been like officially published or anything like that, but that is something that you feel me? I have notes and things from aspirations. You have to look at something. Well, I mean, when people draw, like they get their own style off of like just practice and preferences and stuff like that. A lot of times people that do like anime and stuff too can also do realism as well. I did study that a little bit, but I wouldn't say that's like my strong suit. I would say I definitely go into like surrealism, which it like combines the anime with a little bit of nature, a little bit of realism. So this is a little bit more realistic, and then like it would go into like anime for like the people. I'm going to have to hire an illustrator at some point if I decide to move forward with it. Yeah. People sometimes have the vision, but they're like, listen, I like your art style, and that's what we're going with. If you look at my Ko-fi actually has commercial. So I like commercial licenses, which is a little bit more, and it's very, very cheap, in my opinion, actually. Just because it's like, it's per piece. So Mellow is doing like a trading card game, and I've actually worked on board games before, and it's per card per piece. It's not even per card, it's per section of cards. So it's like if you're asking someone to do the board, you compensate for the board. If you're asking someone to do like a card, the graphics for each individual part of the card, like the artwork or the framework, then the background, unless you want to lump sum it all together, and each artist has their own different terms, right? But hiring your own artist is definitely not cheap. Thank you. Appreciate that. Just adding some of the highlights up here. I'm gonna have to add in some. I'm putting a layer of white just so that it brings up the yellow bits a little bit better. There we go. I'm going to, again, do the same thing that I'm doing with the highlight, but with a shadow. As it gets closer to the horizon, the lines are tighter. As it comes closer to you, they're bigger, more spaced out. That sounds about right. That's why I said hiring your artist is very expensive, and it's usually a labor of love. Or people just draw it themselves. Yeah, no, that's correct. Because it's per piece too, and usually it's the same artist because you want it to look cohesive. And then you have to be clear about what kind of art style that you need, because again, artists can do a lot of different styles. This is the first time I'm actually doing more of a painted, like just straight painting. Most people are used to my anime. It's actually turning out pretty nice. Because you're not just hiring them for their skill level. A lot of artists are actually pretty underpaid when they get in for their projects. That's probably the only time I really see consistently priced rates for their skill level because if it wasn't specialized and it wasn't needed, then the prices wouldn't be that high. But also art takes a long time. This on its own is a very small Polaroid shape. I'm not done yet, and I've already been painting for an hour. So, for example, if I were to just give myself a very, like, reasonable rate of, as an artist, I want to make $20 an hour, especially I live in California, this piece is already $20, which is more than what people would typically expect to pay for Fiverr. You know what I mean? I would love to hire someone to do a YouTube anime game AMV. Oh, that gets kind of tricky because you're pulling off for anime movie. Like, the AMVs are so fun. They're so great. But if you're gonna, like, pay someone to do that, it's almost like, because that's not your work. And it's one thing to, like, hire someone for fan art. That's different. But to, like, hire someone to take clips of an existing anime of other people's work is actually, like, kind of complicated. Unless you're just doing it yourself as, like, I just did this with my own free time as a fan. Then, like, there's no money transaction there. And of course, this is not legal advice, but it just seems like something that would actually be more complicated than it seems. You know what I mean? Right now, we are literally waiting for paint to dry so I can do the black island silhouette. I'm feeling, at first I was going to do it here, but I actually see that there's more of an empty spot here. So maybe even this right here, and this is like pretty, yeah, this corner doesn't have as much detail of the water here or the highlights, and there's a good section here for like the palm tree, you know what I mean? Yeah, animes themselves too, like, they're pricey to make as well. Most anime, like, baseline cheapest anime is millions of dollars. Unless you do like a web comic, like animated web comic. Baseline at least $1 million to make like an actual full-fledged anime, and that's like not a lot of frames. You know, it's like kind of like choppy, or like they don't get to put as much detail in the like anime highlight shimmers and stuff like that. All right. So before I keep touching this thing, I'm gonna put this palette set away. By the way, I'm using Winsor and Newton watercolors. My boyfriend got me those for Christmas. But what I use, they're like little cakes, so I'm bringing out my set of black. Oh, they got jumbled up. Hold on. If you're hearing a little rattling, it's me putting my watercolors back in their little trays. Okay, so I don't want a large one, but I don't want a small one either. So I'm gonna get a medium-sized brush for this one. Do I still play Yu-Gi-Oh? Not consistently, but I mean, I know the rules. I know the base rules the most. I get really confused when it comes to like pendulums. Like pendulums and past, I'm like, My deck, I use the volcanic. I used a volcanic deck. I was a burn type of deck wielder. I'm the new Bob Ross? Oh my gosh, that's such a compliment. That is such a compliment. Okay, so this is now dry. What kind of decks do you use? My ex-boyfriend used to do a lot of synchro summons and like dragons. It's my mechanical keyboard, don't mind it. Palm tree. Yeah. So these actually like come off the top. And we're going splotchy. It just looks like I straight up ruined it, right? But don't worry, we're fine. We are okay. Just gonna make sure to carry it over to the edge of the washi tape. What I'm trying to do here is define the cliff line. So this is more foreground. That's more of the background, like kind of off here. Again, when it comes to sunsets, the foreground kind of gets just like blacked out, you know what I mean? It's just the way it is. Especially with the light source in the back. Okay, so here I'm gonna bring back the very, very small brush. It's not even a mistake. It's just part of the process, is the thing. A lot of times when you look at unfinished artwork, that's why artists are like, it's not done yet. It's part of the process. There's been so many times I'm like in the middle of doing digital art and they're like, oh, if you could just like fix this. And I'm like, yeah, in the next step. When we get there. So these in the background are gonna be like really, really small. Teeniest, tiniest, so that you can start to see like the cliffside that I'm building, right? It's the tiniest little pine tree you'll ever see. Right now, I'm using the test paper to like make the tip a little bit. Hi, Anka. A little bit, whatchamacallit? Pointier, more tippy like. Very technical terms we've got here. And then we're gonna do like big ones up here in the foreground. How do I keep my hand that steady? It's called line confidence. It's something you get with more experience. I'm keeping my brush slightly dry, by the way, because I want it to be dry for a little bit of that texture. So like for the stump or the trunk, that's fine. I want it like prominent, right? You can still see the difference in the saturation of the black here. But when it comes to like the foliage part of it, I want it to be a little bit more dry so you can kind of tell, oh yeah, that's like the tough part underneath. Also doing some practice runs. Yeah, I think I really like the decision to go on the left side as opposed to the right. How are you doing today, Anka? I love watching people paint. It relaxes me. Great. I'm trying to do this painting YouTube content at least once a week. Unless my arm is like hurt or injured, you know, because then I have to be very careful about that, you know? And then like I won't be able to do my commissions and stuff. I prioritize my commissions because that's what makes the moolah. I take commissions off of Ko-fi. Ko-fi is also where you can make one-time donations as well. And you can sub monthly on Ko-fi if you would like to have access to my digital art sessions. I only do my painting sessions publicly. I'm pulling up some of the pigment in certain areas strategically to bring out a little bit more life to the cliff side. Again, texture of like rocks and things. And then going over here and then like doing a little separation. Like this is supposed to be more of the back end. It's a lot of little details within the black as well. Let's do a little bit of gray. Since we're bringing up anime, the next request I'm doing is actually artist choice. So I would love to do like a little bit of like something surreal. I'm not quite sure what yet. Maybe I'll just let it go with the flow, you know? I tend to pre-plan mine, but it's important to be able to do both. So even if someone has a preference of like having a plan and like knowing what to like do next or what have you, that can get really tiresome as well. And that's kind of the point where I'm at right now. And it's really, really important to, you know, give yourself the opportunity to also like loosen up and just go with the flow. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of burnout, if that makes sense. Art at the end of the day should be something that brings you joy, and if it starts to not bring you joy, it might be worth looking into like, well, what is it that's lacking? And not in a critical sense of like, oh, I need to be better, because I think that's like inherent of all artists, like this is what I want to do to be better, yada yada, blah blah blah. But like in terms of enjoyment, you don't have to be good at something to enjoy something. Your hobbies can stay your hobbies, you know what I mean, without this pressure of like, if I am not good at it, then I shouldn't be doing it. For example, I'm not a very good dancer. Does not mean that I shouldn't go enjoy myself with my friends and liven up and dance a little bit, you know what I mean? So the same thing can happen with art. I'm like one of the most logical people when it comes to the way I do art. I always have a process, I always have a plan. I can see my art in layers, and I've still kind of done that to this, even to this piece in the last hour and 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm gonna go from my lightest to my darks, I'm gonna do my clouds, I'm gonna block them in, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna gradient the back, I'll do the horizon line, and then I'll do the things last. But even still, like trying to like go through the process. Beth, it revolved around Aries and Pandora's box. Ooh, that is fun. You can often lose yourself in the process. And if you think about it, art is a lot of expression. So I'm trying to still, within my capabilities, kind of like just go with the flow, which I think I'm gonna actually do in the next piece, because this one is pretty much almost done. I just want the black to dry. If that makes sense. All right, we're gonna wait for this to dry and then call this request a day. This was a fun request. It's also a little bit like out of my norm, because people mostly ask me to draw anime, so this was really, really nice. We still have about 2 hours left, so that should be enough time for another request. Oh, we're talking about a game. Let's see. What's my favorite piece of art I've painted before? I don't have a favorite piece because, like you, I'm very, very critical of my art. By the time I've like finished making it, I like hate it already. And that is a very common artist thing, unfortunately. It's both what pushes me to be better, because then I can be so critical that I know what I want to like practice next and improve upon next. But that also means that I don't really have like an appreciation for what I've done. I think one of like, in terms of like what I'm proud of, in terms of what I'm proud of, I think it would be my first card game I've illustrated. It didn't actually make it through Kickstarter, but I think it was really cute and it was a really great learning opportunity. So the cards and the board and everything posted is only prototype, so it was very cheaply printed at first so that it could get into the hands of the reviewers and then be put on Kickstarter. But a lot of these pictures are really, really cute, and these are all of the things that I've done for the game. Are like the cheese illustrations on them, the card backing, and then the like the board and stuff, which I think is really, really cute. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop the board game, the BGG, the Board Game Geek link to that. And I'm pretty proud of that, I think. So if you'd like to check out 123 Cheese, there's the link right there. I just posted it in the chat. You can peruse the images of the reviewers. Who knows if it's going to be published again or attempt to be put through Kickstarter again. But yeah, also if you go on YouTube, my very first uploads were actually frequently asked questions and how to play the game, and it was originally found on Tabletopia. So if you're interested on how it played, you can watch that, but a lot of those links would be broken now since it's no longer up for campaign. But you can take a look at it. I drew so much cheese for this game, and I drew the little mouse character. His name is Anton. He's super cute. Let me see. I think one of my favorite pictures of this game is actually... There's a few, but I really like this one. This one, who took this picture? Eric. Oh, Eric is such a good photographer and reviewer of board games. So talented. Yeah, I think this one's my favorite one. So yeah, when you ask like, have I done manga? Have I done like, you know, card games and stuff? This one is all my artwork. So I've done card games. It didn't actually get published, which is a bummer, but this would have been my first one. But yeah, these are prototype printing. So if it was successful, they would have been printed on nicer cardstock. And then they would have been, like, the board would have been an actual thick board. And then the box would have been bigger and not the little tuck box. So these are all, like, pictures of the prototype game. So before, like, a nice working prototype to see what the possibilities are. And then when it actually got, if it ever gets funded. I also did the logo. So I did the logo, the box, the characters, the cheese pieces, the things on the board. So I did like the wood background, and then I did the little blueberries and the little cheese. But that's what I mean by like the cards. It's not just the... So for this particular project, I do have to say that Tate Wu actually put together the numbers and stuff. He was advised from me to like use different fonts for like commercial free licenses and stuff like that. The font that we ended up using is Mouse Memoirs, which is really funny. But the like the stripe was his. The numbers is just a font which we decided upon together. So a lot of it is like me working with the client, you know what I mean? But the cheese illustrations themselves are mine, and the watermarked cheese background is actually cropped from one of the cheeses that I made for the box art. So that's something to consider. And like, even though I was very like, my prices were very low back then, like still I was commissioned per piece. Does that make sense? So even like something like this with a very cheap artist is not cheap on the creator, because I was paid like 100 something for the board, which are all of these different elements, and then each individual card. So there's there's a charcuterie, there's the bag, and then there's cards 1 to 5. So that's 7 times, like, let's just say like 30 or 40 each. Like that all adds up, you know what I mean? Anywho's. Yeah, I think this should be dry now. So we're gonna go ahead and pull up this washi tape, and then we can kind of do a practice of kind of like go with the flow and see where that takes us, because that would be Michael's request. He wanted to just do artist choice, and I'm kind of getting in a place where I need to Ooh, peel. Look at that nice crispy edge. Oh my gosh, I am in love. Oh. There is just something so satisfying about a really nice clean peel. Do you see that? It is so clean on the bottom. I'm gonna be so mad if the rest of this isn't actually as clean as I want it to be. Okay, we're gonna take out the test strip really quick. Okay, this one's next. Peel, peel, peel. Okay, this one's not bad. I need to go through and erase some of the graphite from when I... Oh, that's still really clean. Ugh. Gosh, that looks nice. Okay. Next piece is the left-hand side. I'm sitting here going, that's not clean, and then I realized that my screen was dirty. What? There was a little smudge roll. Oh my goodness, Anka. Okay. That's so funny. Oh, I might have tacked this one down a little too hard. Okay. I just need a corner, friend. There we go. Oh, nice. Yes. Oh, nice. All right. And then we're gonna take my rubber eraser. To remove the graphite from when I was tracing the post-it note earlier. Thank you. Of course, it's really important to make sure that your paint is dry before you go and rub with any sort of anything. Oh, this is so nice. Because then otherwise it's gonna smudge, right? So here is the first completed piece, along with the test strip of paper that I used to test the colors. Disney's next movie will be mixing watercolor art with CGI. Oh, no way. And then these are the watercolor brushes that I used and the sizes. Just to give you all an idea. That's cute. I might like just take this freeze frame here and then like edit stuff over it and then change the thumbnail. I think that'd be really nice. Let me see if I can. Where's my snipper? Rectangular. Alright, let's save that. Like, I think having the placeholders for when I'm live is nice. And then I can go back in and like edit the like finals. Hocus Pocus 2? I had no idea. Let's do another folder in here. And let's do YouTube thumbs. And we'll do sunset sky. That ought to do it. Yeah. All right. Let's do this again. I actually love how this came out. It's very cool. I have yet another Polaroid. So there's two sides of watercolor paper. One thing to note is one side, I don't know if you can really see it, but one side's kind of like grainy, like you can see it go left or right or up and down. And the other side looks like, you can tell the grain here, it looks more like paper towel. I like painting on the side that has a paper towel. So what we're gonna do here is exactly what I did with the other one. If I can find... Here we go. Work smarter, not harder. Find things that are the exact size that you need. And I'm gonna trace it. Because really I'm just trying to get dimensions. Oops. This one's scooched a little bit. The trick is staying consistent. There we go. I believe so. Both sides will absorb the paper just fine, but if you're looking at the grain of watercolor paper, they're going to absorb the paint differently. So the other side would have more lateral. So you remember when I was doing the horizon line and I didn't wait for it to dry? Well, there was that moment where the paint was going like upwards a little bit. You would have a lot more of that with the other side. So I think it's just really up to you, like artist preference. I prefer this side because it's more of a like, it's easier to get gradients for me, and I think it just blends better overall. There's warm compress and cold compress and all sorts of different line weights and stuff like that that we have to consider when buying our watercolor paper, but you definitely cannot do watercolor on like computer paper. It will tear your paper. It's just not gonna sit right. The paper is probably one of the most important bits about it. It comes out on Disney Plus next month. Oh, nice. I'll be able to watch it then. Love that. I have like a bundle thing with like Hulu. So, what do I want to draw? I'm not very good at this winging it thing. I'm not very good at the winging it thing at all. Oh my lord. Okay. Maybe I'll get some inspiration from a different set of washi tape. So this is like I have a lot of washi tape. I like drawing anime eyes. I haven't done a good anime eye in a long time. Not sure. I've been wanting to use this washi tape for a long time. It's these really cute like terrariums. I haven't really had the opportunity to do that. I really like flowers as well. Oh, Josh, so the art requests are earned by the leaderboard. If you want more information about that, there's the leaderboard section in the Discord. The only reason why I was like, I'm not sure what I want to do was the next person in the list requested that it be artist choice, which is very rare. So this is actually for Michael, who wanted me to do whatever I wanted, which is quite stressful. But I'm gonna try my best. I am leaning into something more of like my own anime style. But I wanted to try just like doing it straight onto the piece as opposed to like pulling out the light table and stuff. I just don't have the spoons for that, you know? Oh no, don't apologize. You're new. You're new. It's all good in the neighborhood. Actually, I'm gonna pick this up. So I'm gonna explain this a little bit. If we look carefully, I did not cover the graphite, which is going to be an issue if I paint over it, because when you do watercolor and you paint over it, it keeps the graphite in. So I'm gonna have to redo that because I want to cover the graphite a little bit, and I tossed that piece of washi tape because I don't want to sacrifice the stickiness. It's like when you stick a sticker and then you peel it up and you try to put it back on, it's not as sticky as it was before. So if I were to just put back the same piece, I could get a lot of leakage behind, and then that's where you get some like not very clean peels, if that makes sense. So it's people who get over a certain amount of badges in a week. Not a week, sorry, a month. Sometimes 2 months if something's a little like off kilter. Like there was the month I got sick with COVID. I didn't count that month. I combined it with the next month. Or like this month, for example, I have a gig that takes me off for like half the month, right? So I'll probably combine September and October for that reason. But I count individual as well as team. So if you yourself show that you're, you know, consistent with like joining in on games, whether they're on the Nintendo Switch or on PC, like Fall Guys and stuff like that. There are 3 streams out of the week that I make public play. So for this week, it's always 2 Mario Kart sessions, one in the morning, one in the and one in the evening. And then there's the other Thursday night one for public play. That way there's 3 times in a week where people can get what we call badges, and then that's how I determine who gets to do the art requests, because these art requests are actually a thank you from my Facebook community for, you know, supporting the content. It's a free way to do it too. It's like a way for me to count the engagement as opposed to like pay in for support, because not everyone can pay in to support, and I understand that. And I know that some people really want to see me draw something, and so that's like a free option. It is actually the only way to get art from me for free. Otherwise, because I take commissions, it's like half of my livelihood. So the other half is people just paying in. So if you did want me to do one of the traditional artwork stuff, there is also that option on the Ko-fi. You don't have to wait to get the badges if you would rather just like pay that in, and then you're added to the commission list. Let me actually pull it up specifically because it's it's like all the way on the bottom. There's sketches and then there's traditional art. Yeah, here we go. So my specific one, and that also goes towards, one, it's cheaper because Ko-fi doesn't take a fee, unlike Facebook or Twitch. Here is my commissions link. Not necessarily for you, Josh, but for anyone watching and anyone interested. It's just the kofi.com/shenanigans/commissions. It's pretty much all it is. But I have everything from emote only, so that was a lot of my most recent ones. If I give emote only, it's only for emotes and Discord stickers. It's not something you would put on your merchandise. And then I have digital art with commercial use. So things you would put on your merchandise, like your t-shirts, your mugs, your tote bags, the 1, 2, 3 cheese, the cards, the stuff that we were just talking about, PNG tubes, like how I'm talking to you right now. The PNG tubes are set to voice activity. So for example, if I'm not speaking, then my avatar doesn't open the mouth. The mouth opening is based off of me speaking, and I would help you set that up as well. It's a cheaper alternative to VTubing. VTubing can be like thousands of dollars. And it is something I am planning to add to my roster in the future, but I want to make sure that the quality of the 3D VTubes are something I'm proud of and would be able to offer on a consistent basis. But these are much, much cheaper. They're only $80 for 4 frames. So the blinking, the mouth opening, all that stuff. If you want, there's also extra expression add-ons like sad. You can hotkey those in, or really excited. Pretty much anything. Annoyed. Angry. I've been wanting a custom Mario Kart drawing of 4 characters. Is that what I'm understanding? Yeah, I would do that. So basically what it would depend, if you're going to put it anywhere where you're gonna be reselling it, like for example, the pig on the sweatshirt or my logo on the tote bags, that sort of thing. If you're going to use it for anything like that, I would do commercial use. If you're not gonna do that and it's basically just a picture to have, you're gonna have it on like the overlay of your stuff, or you're just wanting it for like, I don't know, your banner or something like that, things you're not going to resell and make a passive income off of, you can just do commercial art, non-commercial. So you can do the first option with the $30. Oh, Mortal Kombat, that's fun. I would love to do that. I was like, Mario Kart? Mortal Kombat. I need to stop doing MK8 because some people think Mortal Kombat 8. And I'm like, no, I mean Mario Kart 8. I keep forgetting that that's an acronym that's shared. There's also logos, but for this particular one, so most of these are, so most of these are leaderboard requests, but you can also just pay in for whatever you want, and that would be traditional art. Or if you like the sketchy portion of it and you don't want me to paint it, that's like 15 bucks. So I have everything from $15 to like 100 plus. And then you can also look at the add-ons. So when you look at them, it'll tell you, do you want a background? Do you want more people? So it's like per character is an extra thing. Let me check if non-commercial art has extra people. I have 2 extra slots for extra people. So, I mean, you would technically, if you want 5 of them, you could do 2 orders, 1 with 3 and 1 with 2. But no pressure. That's just if you want it, sort of thing. I never know who ends up watching back these videos. And then I have frame-by-frame animations, which is a down payment of $100, and then it's prorated $20 an hour. I definitely want to go all out on it. Oh my goodness. Now I want to frame it and hang it in my living room. No, I'm so sorry. Oh, Josh, I'm so sorry. You know, that's come up more than once. I should probably just type it out next time. I used to play Mortal Kombat, actually. Wow, I'm really stalling trying to, like, do this. Hold on. I think I need to redo this one because it's crooked. It's hanging crooked. Oh, it was the first one I put down. God. Okay. Okay, we're gonna focus. And by we, I mean me. I am gonna focus. We have about an hour. What do I want to draw? I do want to like do a really nice anime eye, but that feels just so basic to me. It's been a long time since I've done like anime eyes. Like even my PNG tube, like because I have black eyes in real life and I wanted it to look like me, I didn't like make it super shiny, like super duper detailed, you know what I mean? Like, have you ever just seen like people just do anime eyes and it's like all the different colors and highlights? Like I'm kind of like feeling something like that right now. Like that would be sick. That would make my heart happy right now, but I also just like, I don't know. I also, like, what, maybe I would do a character. Maybe I'll do one of my OCs. One of my last streams, somebody was asking me about like, oh, have you ever made an OC before? Like an original character. And I was like, actually, I have. I haven't drawn them in a really long time, though. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Sounds like I made it. I think I did. Yeah. I just don't want it to be so basic. Bong! Bong! I caught up on Spy Family! See, part of me was like, I just finished watching an anime and I really, really like the character. So I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I could do like Anya. But I'm like, I don't know. That also seems super basic to me too, and that doesn't make me happy. What color were my character's eyes? Oh yeah, they were a really pretty blue. Oh, yeah, we're gonna do that one. She was like, it was a concept based off of the like see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, and those were like their things that they needed to develop over time. Like they, you know, it was like post-apocalyptic or whatever. So like this character's name is Hana, which means flower. And I was like, this is a concept I came up with in like middle school and I just never let go of. So I probably need to like rethink all of it because it's like a middle school brain talking. But she wore a scarf over her mouth because she was like too soft-spoken. So she like represented the like speak no evil. So she would be really good at observing things around her but wouldn't like actually speak up against anything. And then as the anime, quote-unquote anime, went on, like she would become more outspoken and work on those things. And I chose the name Hana for flower because of blooming into like the person you want to be. Oh my god, though, I was so peeved. That looks better. Something was bothering me about the way I like did that. Oh my gosh, and then I did the terrarium for like plants. Okay. We get season 2 next month. I was really peeved about how it ended because it was just like randomly like, what do you mean it's over? I didn't get any of the like, there's so many questions, there's so many unresolved things. And Marcus was like, well, it's season 1. And I'm like, well, yeah, but like, it just felt like it ended on a filler and I hated that. Yes, Anka, you're gonna get one in October. Season 2 of Spy Family is like literally next month. Literally next month. Okay. Am I gonna open up my old DeviantArt for my own reference of my own character that I haven't drawn in like ages? I think I am. Oh my god! Oh my god. I can't deal with these taglines. Refuses to be forgotten. My current residence is my imagination. I was really cringy as a child. I liked anime as a child. Leave me alone. I did watch the Nintendo Direct today. I actually watched it with Dorky. Is it season 2 or second part of season 1? Maybe that's why they left so many things white. They call it season 2, but I feel like it's just here's season 1 again. It literally was just like, goodbye. And I'm like, no. Why would you end it like that? There were so many things left open, I agree. Wow. This is old AF. I was pretty good for a 13-year-old, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, no, I can't share this because it has my real name on the signatures. I have a whole eye tutorial that is literally so freaking, I mean, oops. It is very long about my process with making eyes. Oh my gosh. Okay, all right. Was it the other one? I think I like abandoned this one. I can't remember if, was it flame or flamed? Flame. Oh, hello. Okay, okay. So I don't typically draw straight onto the watercolor paper because I don't want to ruin the grain of the paper, but I just don't want to take out my... I just don't want to do it. I don't want to take out my light table. I'm like over it. Because when you erase it, like I'm erasing right now, it like compromises the grain of the paper. I'm being a very bad watercolor artist right now. Don't look. Ah! Okay. Ah! Not in particular. I'm really trying to like save money. Obviously, Breath of the Wild 2, right? I want to focus more on the eyes, so I almost feel like I have to do like emote style, but like crop out the top of the head. Yeah. And I want the scarf to be very prevalent. Breath of the Wild 2? Yeah, that was announced. I'm even not really doing my actual style right now. I'm like making the eyes a little bit bigger so I can have fun coloring them. I might bring it down a bit because I'm like not into the chibi art as much anymore. That was very much like high school Angie. Or I could just do chibis. I don't know. There's a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to think about it too much. Especially I'm a Facebook gamer, so like doing variety isn't actually like the best move for me. Facebook actually likes it when you stick to one game. And I quite literally mean like one game. I play too many games for Facebook, actually, but I don't want to go to Twitch with my family-friendly content. My Twitch is very much like the under the table, we don't talk about what happened sort of thing. Anyways, Bong, are there any... How about everyone else? Bong, Josh... Dan, if you're still here. Oh, this is exciting. I haven't drawn this OC in like literally ages. She has really long hair. It's just me. It's me with brown hair. Wow. They really say you insert yourselves in your characters, don't they? Well, I actually didn't have this hairstyle for a really long time. My hairstyle is actually like down here and like spiky, but like this character's hair goes like all the way to like their butt, like where we would have it now. Where I would have it now. I want to add like an extra strand coming out here. I think that'd be cute. And the strand has to come from somewhere, right? So the locks are coming down from here. Oh yeah, Dorky had really good, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but he had really great reactions. I asked him if he got complaints from his neighbors for yelling so much, but it seems like he's in the clear for now. For now. Yeah, I haven't had bangs. This is the first time, like, years later that I actually got bangs, so... I don't know. Maybe baby me could tell what me in the future was gonna be like. So, ears are between the nose and the eye. So her ear would tuck in here, like so. And her hair actually tucked into her scarf. So I'm gonna extend the scarf just a little bit. Yeah. So this is actually wrong in its character design. I like this because it creates a sense of foreground. So I'm gonna keep that. But the rest of this actually curls into the fabric. You can have like one strand that comes out for like aesthetic reasons, you know? The one that kind of like curls out and like comes out a bit. When looking at hair, you want to look at the different locks that are in place, segments, and where they're falling. Okay. So now I have a choice here. Since I've drawn straight onto the watercolor paper, I can just keep I can erase the guidelines that I did and then just keep the lines here as a guideline, or I can go in with my liner, draw straight onto it, and then erase this. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. for those of you asking, can I draw anime? Have I tried doing manga before? This is kind of my style. This is very, like, the eyes are much wider than I usually do, but I found that, you know, as I drew more, each character is going to need different eye shapes. So this is more of the, like, innocent type. Moe. Yeah, I don't want to... I don't know. Okay, well, first of all, let me take a picture of this, because sometimes I have, like, huge regrets. And if I mess it up, at least I'll have a drawing of what it was. You know what I mean? What do you all think? Should I do it with the pencil or should I go in with the marker, the Copic liners? I always like the sketches. Ugh, I have such nice liners though. I'm gonna do liners. Okay, so we're gonna get another piece of test paper. Yeah, let's do the liners. And before I even go at the liners, I want to test to see what line width I want. So this one is a 0.2. I think that one's a pretty good basis, but then I need a detail one and then I need a thick one. So let's try 0.5 because I think going up to 0.3 doesn't really do much. Yeah, I need a little bit of variation, you know what I mean? And then 0.1 is pretty small. Okay, we can do that. I have chosen my 3. Oh yeah, the remastered Tales of Symphonia, that one I got really excited for. Dorky was mostly excited for the ports to the Nintendo 64 emulator. Okay, so another tip is if you're feeling unsure of yourself, see how my lines are shaky here? It's because I haven't warmed up. Warming up is really important in general. Art is not an exception. It's like when you just wake up. You're like kind of groggy, your hands are just waking up. That spiral is so bad, and I know I can do so much better. And like reversing it. So like your hand will get used to doing something in one way, but that doesn't mean that they're used to doing the opposite type of line. So this was down, up, down, up, down, up. How about up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. See, this one's a little bit more shaky. Your diagonal lines. Your art will improve tenfold if you just let your hands literally warm up. Stretch before and after. I actually am overdue for a stretch. So your fingers, you need to like pull back on each one gently until you start to feel a stretch for like 10 seconds. Yeah, he like lost his mind for that bong. And they say that you should be stretching every hour that you're sitting down drawing, and I've already like surpassed that. So I'm gonna take a little stretch break. Make sure that your things are capped because you don't want them to dry out. One, for the health of my hand, but also for the health of my artwork. Your hand, if it's like cramping and it's like not feeling good, is not going to produce really smooth lines. You know what I mean? Garbage state of play. Oh. What do you mean, Josh? The thing that I did note was like, I hope that some of the ports aren't laggy. And also like certain games are cloud version, and I know that that's not very popular with people. Like Kingdom Hearts came out cloud version and people weren't very happy with that. He was super stoked for GoldenEye in particular. I like that you can do online play with a lot of the classics. It doesn't have to be couch co-op. Wow, that's bonkers. I'm like looking at the stats of this video, and you know, like I've been out of YouTube for a while, so I'm not expecting a whole lot of views or concurrent. I'm just amazed that there's like 5 of you here like watching with me. Thanks so much for doing all of that. But I think what's really interesting is the average view duration. Usually, you know, with live streams, people are in and out. They like at most stay for like 3-5 minutes, except for like the solid few who stay for like a majority of the stream. But the average view duration of this video is over 40 minutes. That's really impressive. I was really hoping for a classic Resident Evil or Mortal Kombat collection, and they didn't deliver. Oh, so you didn't want the remastered stuff? Oh my gosh, no, Beth, you gotta go take care of yourself. If you need to go somewhere, absolutely go. I needed help with the initial shares, and you did just that, so thank you. Online GoldenEye does sound like it would be fun at times. Yeah, he like screamed so loud. We clipped it actually. Okay. My wrists are done popping. Okay. We have about an hour left, and I think that's actually enough time for me to finish this piece. Okay. See, much better. Imagine if I didn't warm up and I was stuck with this. This was the first line I made. This one right here. This thing was so scraggly as compared to like this one that had so much more line confidence. So now I'm practicing the under. Oh. This is actually my most hated part of the process. I really despise doing line art. I always have. Are they doing a new Mortal Kombat? No, from what I gathered, it was remastered. Aw, bonk. Everyone in chat's all sad now. It's so sad. Bye, Beth. Take care. I'm just doing one solid line weight around right now, and then I'm gonna go back in with thicker lines. She was always a concerned character. Is this one of your original characters you're drawing? Yes. This is Hana. So this is in my own style. But the eyes are a little bit over-exaggerated so I can have fun coloring them with watercolors. My music just stopped? Give me a sec. Yes, I'm still here. Goodness. We're doing the artist choice, David. This is a character that I came up with in middle school that I haven't drawn in a while, and I've been wanting to do like really detailed anime eyes like with watercolor, so I'm kind of using her as an excuse to do that. This? What's the paper you're for that you're writing on? This is my test strip of paper, just like I had my test strip of paper for watercolors. This one, it's practice. So like I was saying earlier, I could have just gone straight into it without warming up, but doodling a little bit, warming up and waking your hands and your wrists and your fingers up actually produces better artwork. Because I was going to just do it without warming up, and then I noticed that my hand was a little shaky, so I was just warming it up to wake your muscles up, which is a really good tip. If you find that your like lines are like shaky and stuff, it's probably kind of like when you just wake up. You're groggy, you're still kind of getting into the rhythm of the day. Your muscles are the same. They need to stretch and like have that a little bit of that motor memory, you know what I mean? Okay, we're switching to a semi-smaller, not the smallest, but the same line width as everything else for these. I'm kind of making it look like Swiss cheese because those are actually going to be the highlights. So I'm like avoiding those areas when I color. No probs. Then I'm gonna do like a little semicircle just to mark where I want the pupils to be. But I'm actually gonna paint over that like with a really dark, not like black, but like a really dark version of that color. Okay, so the line art is not done yet. It's looking really flat because I just went in with the same lines. So now I'm gonna think about where is it that there would be more line weight. So like under the jaw, between the folds. If I'm doing a light source, I want the light source to be from this side. I usually do left diagonal, but I kind of want to do something different and go this way instead. That way the eyes catch more of it because of the way her head is tilted. So keeping that in mind with the light source being where my eraser is, there are different parts of the drawing that would catch the shadow, and those are where you would want a lot of your line width to be bigger. So like here. And just doing little things like this will give your character more character. We're not shading, we're just adding a little bit of bump. See how this set it aside from the other lines that I did with just a simple of making the jawline a little bit thicker. Same thing here with this lock of hair. I'm actually gonna use the bigger one for this one now. That is not the bigger one. Oh, David, is it not pinned? I thought I had pinned my link tree. Can you all see the pinned comment? Okay, so at this phase, it's wait. If you don't wait long enough for your ink to dry, it's gonna smudge. Even if it is water and Copic proof pigment ink, it's gonna smudge up the wazoo. That's okay, David. I appreciate you trying to be helpful. Another helpful trick around the lips. The very edges kind of like crease in, because that's like kind of where the overlap is. You can kind of see that on my PNG too, that the very edges of the lips are slightly thicker. Here, I'm gonna focus on the things that I'm using right now to kind of frame. Oops. These are the pens I used. This is the... Yep. I used an HB graphite. I have a Blick rubber eraser. Copic multi-liners that are water and Copic proof. 0.1, 0.2, and 0.5. I'm going to now try to erase one part of it just to test if it's ready. So let's start with this corner. Seems to be okay. Let's go ahead and do the rest. Nice. Ooh, have a good dinner. Take care, Bong. All right, so for this one, we're going to do the frisking technique. Frisk is just liquid latex that when it dries, you can basically just paint over that without any worry. The nibs have different... Thank you. The nibs have different... like dilations or amounts, like the needle point opening. So I want like a really small super liner. This one is a 0.8 millimeter. And that test piece of paper, always do it on something else first. Okay, yeah. There we go. Cool, okay. So places I'm gonna wanna do that. the highlights of the eyes. I'm doing like little stripes on the very bottom part to maintain the white of the paper. Same thing here. I want to get the highlight of this cheek. I do a little triangle here. Then I think like a little bit of a highlight here. Same thing with the hair. There's gonna be some spots I just want like white for the highlight. Oh no, I didn't ask you anything other than how your weekend has been. I hope it's been grand, Amanda. So the important thing when using Frisk is when you're done, there is a needle in the cap. You want to make sure it's actually going inside. Because it is liquid latex, it really needs to like go all the way through to make sure it's not clogged. I spent Saturday in Seattle. Oh, sleeping in sounds amazing. And as much as I hate to say it, we're gonna spend this time, once again, just waiting for paint to dry. But it's not paint, it's Frisk. So we're just gonna wait for the Frisk to dry. You can tell it's dry when it no longer looks shiny like that. It should look kind of like semi-translucent or a dried up blue. No, me cussing out someone driving because they don't know what they're doing. Oh no! Are you in Spanish? Oh, that's how you know they fucked up. Ugh. It's a good thing this isn't Facebook. Because I messed up a bit there. I let it slip a little bit. Anyways, I guess while I am waiting for this to dry, I can do myself a solid and change up this water. If you have dirty water and dirty brushes, your painting will be dirty. It will not have the nice clean colors. So I'll be back. But don't go anywhere. looks like it's almost there. And now to think about... I actually want to bring out my Copics for this one, for the skin tone. So, if you didn't know, Copic markers, watercolors, and colored pencil all work really well together. The only thing with using Copic markers on a watercolor paper is that you have to be very careful of the ink welling up because it acts like an absorbent paper towel. So it's gonna pull the ink out faster than you want it to sometimes if you're not aware of that. So just be really mindful, look at your felt tips and see if it's like oversaturated, then you need to pull back a bit and let it like kind of drain out, or just like go really lightly on those. Copic marker, I would actually recommend cardstock paper. And cardstock paper actually works pretty decently for watercolors, but my watercolors are more expensive than my Copics actually, so I just wanted to make sure that they have what they need. I'm going to drive home now. Hopefully you'll still be online when I get home. I'll be on for about 30 more minutes, Amanda, but afterwards I'll be on for Mario Kart tonight at 7 p.m., which is an hour later than usual, but yeah. If not the rest of art, you'll be able to catch me later for Mario Kart, and we can chat then, okay? Hi, Jekka. I'm gonna touching up the areas that I know are going to have shading. That way when I overlap them, I know they're gonna be slightly darker. This is my original character I made in middle school, Jekka. This one was a artist choice. Someone requested that I do something I want to do, so it's been a while since I drew this character. Copic markers are great because you get a lot of depth from the same marker and just overlapping it a whole bunch. Bye, Beth. Take care. Oh, I'm in Pacific time, Josh. So it looks like you are in Eastern time. So any of my schedule posted, add an additional 3 hours. We do have Mario Kart tomorrow in an earlier time frame for that exact reason as well. So if you can't make it tonight, you should be able to possibly make it tomorrow. We have a lot of friends that are in the East Coast as well as in the UK, so I tried to make my schedule pretty balanced to meet the needs of all of those time zones as well as our own. Yeah, so tomorrow would be 1 p.m. Eastern until 4 Eastern, I believe. Okay, sounds good, sounds good. Oh, that's unfortunate. So I'm using yellow red 00. This is powder pink to just kind of like highlight different parts like of the nose. And it brings a little bit more tone into the piece. A slight like pink is really good for like the tip of the ears. And like around the like top of the cheek. A little bit of that flush. Thank you. It is Lo-Fi Records. It is also credited in my description if you'd like to give a listen to their playlist. They were previously known as Chilled Cow. Chilled Cow has a royalty-free common license playlist, and that is the one that I am using. So it's a bunch of different artists. Okay. I think I'm ready to go into the browns. Oh, well, the palette I picked up was blue, so we're gonna do that instead. Remember that test sheet of paper I was talking about? Now is the time to do that. I'm going to use the smallest one because I'm doing detail work in the eyes. Bye, Jekka. Take care. So I'm gonna do my lightest colors just like I did the other piece. Anything that I'm coloring over that has frisk in it is gonna It'll be fine. Basically what it will do is just make it white. It will, ooh, it'll attach itself to the color that's underneath it. Right now I just took a piece of napkin, wadded up napkin, to pick up a little bit of that color around here for a little bit of that gradient. With the eyes, I actually like how the gradient looks like. I like when they mix together. So I'm not gonna wait for that to dry, and I'm just gonna build in the colors around and blend straight onto it. The tops of the eyes are gonna have a darker hue. Right underneath the highlights as well, so that they stand out. They have something to contrast against. I'm gonna just kind of poke and prod around these highlights for that same reason, just so we can actually see them. Making sure this is blue, not purple. Perfect. The blue really brings it to life. It really does. Hope you're enjoying your time here. I know it can be frustrating when I'm in a different time zone. Oh yeah, that gradient together looks so nice. It's like, it reminds me of some of the characters from Free. Like, their eyes are just so poppin'. I don't know how else to explain it. So this is the top of the palette. It also helps like conserve. Yeah, okay, great. Your paints, especially when they're so expensive. I really just want to like dot in a little bit of this really dark blue for the pupil. Oh, I'm glad. Tuesday night might be your jam then. It's a really nice way to wind down, in my opinion. Okay, so watercolors, they're like a puzzle. Anything you don't want to blend like that, you're gonna avoid until it's dry. You know what I mean? So right now the eyes are wet and so I still want to do like a gray here to get the shadow of the eyeball, but I don't want it to touch, so I'm going to avoid it like the plague, and we're going to work on something else that is not touching the eyes. The first instinct is to go to the hair, but these little strands here actually come very close to the eyes, so I'm gonna do the scarf while the eyes dry, and then I can go back and do the hair after. The scarf, I had her with a purple scarf. I can do a slightly thicker brush. That one's too thick, so probably this one. Yeah. Again, we're gonna go with our lightest colors and then work our way down. And again, I've done different styles. I've done more realistic styles before. I've done people's pets in a more realistic style and more cartoonish style. It really just kind of depended on what my clients wanted. But since we were on the note of asking about like manga illustrations and stuff like that, I thought I'd show a little bit more of like an anime styled one. That makes sense. There's gonna be more shadow here and definitely down here, but this is basically just the flat, so I want to make this dry, otherwise I'm going to keep pushing around the color and the pigment, and I don't really want that. So we're just gonna chillax for a sec. Actually a pretty simple piece. Once that dries, I'm going to be able to do the flat of the hair and then kind of go flip-floppity from that, maybe do some background, and then we're set. It's a good choice. Yeah, and then I wanted like, I didn't want it to be like stereotypical like blue eyes and like blonde hair sort of thing. But I wanted the like, the central piece of each of the characters that I had for this was like they all everything they had that was purple was like a key like focal point in my headcanon, you know what I mean? So it's like she was speak no evil, so her scarf would cover her mouth. The one that would like not listen and be kind of more like self-absorbed wore headphones a lot of the time, and the band for the headphones was purple. And then the character that saw no evil was blind, and he wore like a scarf around his eyes that was also purple to kind of like really drive that point home. But again, this is like a concept I came up with when I was literally 13, so it'll probably change over time if I continue to like keep this concept. I have like full-blown art books, or I have like, what's it called? Sketchbooks of just dedicated to them, from like middle school to like college, high school, college. Okay, I think I can go back and do the hair now, because I think the eyes are dry. And this is why you have a test paper, because the palette I pulled from I thought was brown, that is very clearly yellow. Let's try a different one. We're gonna make sure I wash my brush so that the colors are consistent. Okay, there we go. That's a light brown I'm looking for. I'm gonna color it flat in the highlight that I want. Do you ever share some of these sketches on Facebook? I used to, but there's no tag on Facebook for art, so I used to do really, really well on Facebook with these art streams, but they were progressively hurting my algorithm. Hi, honey. I did this one today. I'm drawing my OC from middle school now.
I want to paint.
You want to paint? What? Okay.
I want to paint a honey bunny.
Do you want to paint a honey bunny? I have a piece of like hair in my art. I don't know how to take it out. It's just like pushing around the pigment. Okay, sorry, I had to get rid of that really quick. I also found that when I shared my YouTube videos on Facebook, they actually striked me for sharing unoriginal content because they thought I was just sharing some other person on YouTube that wasn't myself. So I stopped doing that. And I have not had issues with that since. Did you know that's what that was about, Marcus?
No, what?
The unoriginality strike is because I shared my own stuff from other platforms. And that they thought I was sharing things from other people, but it was just me. It was silly. There's a lot of things about Facebook that needs to change. Mostly about its support system. But really, I'm staying on Facebook. Yeah, no, it's bad. And their support system for tickets aren't great either. But there is more visibility on Facebook. There is at least an algorithm to play around with. And a lot of people who do well on Twitch are doing well because they brought their Facebook community over. It's extremely hard to grow on just Twitch if you're just doing Twitch. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't have it any other way. And it's just about knowing what exactly... yeah, it's just about knowing what exactly are the rules of the game with Facebook. Facebook and Twitch have very different rules. So if you ever come by someone that's like, oh yeah, here's like a streamer tip, like they're probably talking about Twitch, especially if you're finding that stuff on TikTok. And I can tell you that it does not apply to Facebook. Facebook is its own beast. Facebook has its own algorithms and rules. And like, you gotta learn about the platform you're on in order to be successful. Facebook does not like variety streamers. As somebody who's friends with Facebook partners and people who, like myself, are variety, they don't like that. I'll tell you that right now. They like it when you pick one game, stick to it for like a season, and it has to be relevant. And which is a real bummerino for me because I really like indie games and I really like I like indie and I like variety, which is going to be more successful on Twitch, but I didn't really feel comfortable on Twitch. Even now, like, it's just a different beast altogether, and the community on Facebook I've always felt a little bit more of like a kindred spirit with. Not to say that there aren't great content creators on Twitch. A lot of my great friends are from there, but I also just, I don't know. For me personally, like my experiences, I felt very alienated. And like I found myself every time when I would go live there missing Facebook. Every platform is going to have its pros and cons, you know, so it's just about kind of knowing what exactly you're looking for as a content creator on each of those platforms. And just kind of like, you know, knowing your audience. If you're brand new, you're not going to have an audience to kind of like build off of yet. You know what I mean? For me, I take my audience very seriously. Like you all kind of determine like ultimately where I go with my own content as well. I do take my own comfortability into consideration as well, but at the end of the day, a content creator isn't anywhere without their community. and my community has done so much for me. It would feel very odd for me to just like abandon people who don't want to go to Twitch, because there are a lot of really core people in our community that just would not download the app, and they also feel uncomfortable with it, and I just wouldn't want to do that to them. I do have a Twitch, and I do stream on it, but it's different. So what I did for the people who do want me to go to Twitch is just provide a different side of myself. So Facebook and YouTube, for the most part, are family friendly. The like teachery shtick, you know, that I have. Whereas Twitch is kind of like, I don't publish anything unless people pay that in. And it's raunchy. It's the unfiltered, like, you caught the, like, it's all you. There's also fresh rice. I love you. My boyfriend came over and was like, what is he was like holding that up. He was holding food up and was wondering if it was for him, and it was. But anyways, yeah. So it's just, you know, like Senpai Streams, I actually did his logo and a few of his other things, like his merchandise and his transition scene and stuff like that. But even he has said that when he wasn't very consistent in terms of like choosing one game and sticking with it, his reach would suffer, which is not something you see on Twitch. Because there is no discoverability to begin with, it doesn't really matter what you do. I mean, it does to an extent. Like, if you're just gonna choose something where people literally are so oversaturated that you're literally like a needle in the haystack, then maybe that's not the best choice if you want to be found. But that being said, for the most part, it's not going to punish you as much as Facebook will for just playing the game that gives you joy. However, that's because there's no visibility to begin with, so you might as well just play something you like. And that's why a lot of them go to like Hover or TikTok to make additional content so people can find your stream. So it's like you have to be really good about making other social media or other posts on different platforms to bring visibility to the Twitch. Whereas with Facebook, you can kind of just do Facebook streams like literally forever and be found in that way. It's not ideal. I would still highly recommend getting good at TikTok and doing all that stuff. It is, because that is exactly what it is. And I mean, it is what it is. It's neither here nor there. But yeah, you are literally a needle in a haystack. The same people that are doing really, really well on Twitch that are my nearest and dearest friends, they're doing so amazing and I'm so proud of them. And this is not to take away anything that they've done, because they deserve all of the success that they have. Some of them started on Twitch and did exactly the same thing they're doing now, but would not be found. They were literally like there for years to like 1 viewer, 2 viewers or whatever. Once in a while make a post elsewhere on like their Twitter or whatever. And then they went to Facebook where there's an algorithm. They posted elsewhere where there was an algorithm, whether that be TikTok or YouTube or Facebook. And then they built a community there. And then when they, you know, got sick of all of the copyright strikes and stuff from Facebook, if you're watching this, I like literally, you have something so good. All you need to do is just have a support, an actual support. I'm not talking about people who like link the same help articles that we already have access to. I'm talking about people who actually look at our videos and go, oh yeah, that was kind of a mistake. Like an actual breathing human being that actually looks into our stuff would like solve 90% of our problems. That being said, if you are a Facebook partner, you have a manager. When you get big enough as a Facebook partner, they will give you a content manager to help with your success and stuff like that. And those tickets will be expedited and will have an actual living human being like looking into your stuff. But I almost feel like that should just be the default. That's just customer service. A support, yeah, like a support. You do get that as a partner, but I almost feel like, why do we have to like? And it's sad because this is why I had to like bring my art to like to YouTube. Okay, so there is an existing tag for board games and art, which was a huge part of the content I made on Facebook as well. And I would just tag just chatting, but that's not actually the right tag to have. The tag is supposed to be, what's it called? It's supposed to be, I don't even know what it's called because I'm not a partner. Hanging out. It's like Twitch's equivalent of just chatting, but it's like hanging out. But that is only available to partners. And the small content creators, like say you or me, would use just chatting. But I don't know if that was like a game or whatever. It was like we were all so desperate to just try to like put out something new and interesting. But the more we did that, the more we found that it was really like punishing our insights, our reach, our everything. I would go from like visibility of like 2,000, 3,000 reach per video. And this is reach, not views. So it's like, okay, people that you can suggest that have like the same, you know, interests or whatever, to like 90. That is such a stark difference for reach. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, I can like just keep doing this and continue to suffer or do something different and adapt. So, but I didn't want to switch over to Twitch because I had a different like idea for that, since people don't really get to see the unfiltered raunchy Angie. And my artwork and my board game and my like fluffy like art persona about like mental health and whatever, like things that we're talking about here, doesn't really match up with what I'm going for the other branding on the purple. So that's why I'm here on YouTube, to the point where I felt like I couldn't share my YouTube videos on my own page because they thought I'm being unoriginal. Which is really, really sad. I wish it wasn't that way. You know what platform, and it's not even a platform, but what service I really enjoy is Ko-fi. A lot. If Ko-fi ever decided to take up live streaming for whatever reason, I would 100% jump ship over there, because their strength is Facebook's weakness. They have a support. I don't have to second guess my finances. Because for Facebook, they just lump it together, and then if you have a problem with your stars, they just tell you, oh, it could all be fraudulent. It could be this or it could be that. And I'm like, I'm not interested in ifs or maybes. Okay? Like, tell me what's wrong with my account. Tell me why it's not paying out. And it's always just stuck on the like, oh, it could be this or could be that. I don't like, you know, when I get a Ko-fi donation, it's itemized. It'll tell me you received this on this date. If something goes wrong with it, it tells me why. So-and-so canceled, or so-and-so didn't have sufficient funds, or oh, their card number changed, just remind them to update their card number. Like, there's so many different reasons why donations don't go through, and it's not always malicious. I don't understand why it's the first thing for them to just suggest is like, well, if someone just decided to send you fraudulent stars, like, I don't believe that for 1 second. Like, yeah, no, they're so, I could go on, but even, like, this sounds like I'm so anti-Facebook, but like, I'm probably one of my only friends that's still on the platform for many reasons, because, you know, that is where the community is, and at the end of the day, I don't feel comfortable on Twitch. I've been on there for a while. I go at least once a week, and it's not fun for me. Why would I continue to do it if it's not fun? You know, I wouldn't make that my main one. I do it because I enjoy the idea and the aspect of making content that's different from what I'm doing here, and it is good for my mental health in that way. But in terms of like not even finding the community, because there's some people I found on Twitch that are super wholesome and super great. Like, like Marzican's great. I can think of a whole bunch of wholesome people, but for all the wholesome people, I can also think of like 5 other people that I'm like, I just don't want to interact with you. I feel like, I don't know, people, there's like this tendency to just be like hiding behind your username, and on Facebook you use your real name unless you're making fake accounts out there, in which case there's no helping it. That person's just gonna be toxic no matter where they are. You just gotta block them. But you know what I mean? It just feels different. And I think at the end of the day too, that like, this is just my truth. There's going to be other people who feel more comfortable on Twitch. Like, what was it? Echoes. Echo just moved to Twitch full time. He's not going back. And a lot of the reasons why people don't go back is just straight up the support. So I'm not trying to scare you out of streaming. I just want to let you know like the issues that Facebook has today, so you're not blindsided by it. Make sure any stars that you get and stuff like that, you're itemizing it and you're writing it down in some way, shape, or form. Oh yeah. I follow one person on Twitch and we all followed her for oh, it's big. Yeah, that's how it starts, you know. It's unfortunate. But yeah, so basically it's like, let me add some pink in here. So this is me mixing watercolor on Copic marker. V cute, works very well. I was not expecting to go on this rant. But yeah, no, for Echoes, he's more comfortable on Twitch and he'll say that with his chest. And I told him on his stream, I was like, I'm happy for you that you found a place where you're comfortable. And you know what? That's great. You should, I agree with this. And I mean that because I think that when people are where they're the most comfortable, they're going to make the best content. And at the end of the day, as a content creator, as an entertainer, you're gonna be doing that almost like 24/7, especially if you're full-time. Even as a hobbyist, like imagine like you go to your 9 to 5, you go to your job, and then you like go in and you do something that feels like a chore. It's not gonna be sustainable. You know what I mean? So like, I honestly, sincerely hope the best for Echoes. And I'm happy that he feels comfortable there. And I know that his content is gonna be that much more awesome because he feels supported there and he feels, you know, happy. I hope one day I can reach the same for myself. But as of right now, I feel more akin to Facebook. There's also just people that just won't go if I go to Twitch. That's okay. I mean, people are gonna follow you where you're gonna go. But for me, that also does make a difference because it's like some of those people are very key people. Some of those people are my moderators. So every community, every content creator has to deal with their own thing. You know what I mean? We're almost done here. I just need to decide on a background color so that when I pull these sides, it's gonna make a full square. And then I need to pull up the frisk so that it's the white of the paper. I almost forgot to add the gray here. Hi, honey. I didn't do any line art there. I just did it. Thank you. I was a little worried about that one. This is my OC from middle school. Oh, bye, Marcus. Yeah, you won't perform if you're miserable. Period. Period. 100%. I feel like I could watch you paint all night. Oh, well, good. I am considering doing more YouTube. I do feel pretty comfortable with, actually. I would consider switching over to YouTube. It's a little confusing though. The one thing with YouTube, I was really bummed out about the how complicated YouTube Kids is and like not being able to monetize any of that. So there are some things I had to take out when it came to YouTube that seemed like it would be a good idea. For example, my puppets. I don't want to be marketed to children because even though I am family friendly, it's like if they happen to come in, that's fine. But if, you know, I don't want to, this is literally like, I want to provide for the inner child of an adult. Remind them what it's like to be a kid. Have them think about those sort of things, you know. But not like, hello children, let's do child development. Even though I do have like that under my belt, I could definitely, if there was just a random kid in here, like interact with them in a way where they were my student. But I don't want to make that my whole shtick, you know. So also for art, I only have one camera. I could get a second one, and I used to. I actually used to do my face cam when I was doing art, but I found that I was too absorbed in the entertainment aspect of it. Like I was trying to center my face with the camera as opposed to doing my art how I usually do it, and my art was suffering for it. So I opted to use my PNG tube and speak to you all in a virtual sense while I focus on the artwork, because right now my face is literally to the paper. If the camera was here, you would see the back of my head, and that's just not like what is that? That is like, I might as well just stay as the PNG tube, you know? Right. Because that's not the point of these streams, and that's what I mean, like being able to adapt and think about what is the okay, like if we're talking about like child development, for instance, like what is, whenever we set up an activity, even if it's group play or free play, we always ask ourselves, or teachers should be asking themselves, what is the intentionality of the project? What is it that I want the viewer or the student to accomplish? Or what do I want to accomplish? What content do I want to put out here? What is the main thing? So for me, it's showcasing my artwork. If what I was doing was sacrificing the quality of my artwork, then it's not working. And so that's why I adjusted. Yeah, I like this a lot. That way I don't have to, like, I'm already focused on a lot of other things, like, is the camera balanced? Is it white balanced? Is it focused? Which, honestly, I'm really proud of my camera, and I feel like because I said that, it's gonna throw a temper tantrum. And just, like, not. But it's behaving itself right now. It's doing a pretty decent job right now. We're going a little over time on this, but this is not something I would like to bookmark because it's so close that I might as well just go over and finish it, you know? And sometimes art is like that. My gaming streams are not like this. If it's time to say goodbye and raid someone, it's time to say goodbye. Unless someone says otherwise and like donate something, you know, for my time, then that's different. But artwork, I mean, like if it's a place where I'm like, yeah, okay, it's not gonna suffer by me doing it next week or in a couple days, then I can bookmark it. But this one I can't, mainly because I'm using Frisk in these areas, and if they sit on there for too long, it's gonna tear the paper underneath. So it's like I want to work quick, but not too quick that it compromises my shading. That makes sense. Hair, you gotta think about it in clumps. So this lock of hair, I'm shading it as like one shape, and then from there I'm gonna go in and then add the separate strands in between. When you're blocking in color, it's nice to have it like wet. Do your darker on the bottom, and then for anime hair at least, darker on bottom and top, and then your middle is lighter. It's gonna make it look shiny, especially when I take off the frisk. What will I do with this piece when I'm done? I'll take a picture and send it to the person that requested it, and then I keep it. And then I basically have examples to show for my next YouTube stuff. That's because I am sickly and I don't leave my house, so I have no way of really getting to the post office. With COVID, I used to teach, but with COVID, I had to stay in. I had a lot of health issues before the pandemic, and that's why I can't go back in the classroom. That also means just like random retail jobs are also out of the question for me as well. I have to be somewhere like remote or like basically virtual. California makes it really, really hard to find something virtual because a lot of the virtual remote jobs excludes California. So I'm just kind of boned. But I'm very, very grateful that I found such a generous community on Facebook. And that's why I don't want to leave either, is that, you know, I've survived because of the graciousness of the community. With all of the complaints and stuff from Facebook streamers, including myself, there's no community like Facebook. Honestly, they are the kindest, most generous people I would like ride or die for, to be honest. And they are so, like, I only survived because they found it in their hearts to like support me like that for that long, and I don't want to burn them, you know? I was a full-time content creator, not in terms of like, oh yeah, I was making the stats in order to call myself full-time. I was full-time out of necessity. And Facebook community literally like picked me up from off the ground and gave me a livelihood for 2 years in a very expensive city where it was like very difficult. I couldn't like move out for all of my reasons. And they have consistently pulled through. Why would I leave a community like that? I just wouldn't. I wouldn't. I would never. Y'all like that are here from Facebook, like the only reason I'm here on YouTube really is because the art was making it not so great like business strategy wise, and I'm not gonna stop arting. That's like basically half of my content, so that's why we're here. And so far it's really interesting because TikTok made it seem like YouTube was such a scary place. YouTube, like, oh, people over here on YouTube are so mean. I'm like, TBH, TikTok, most of the nasty comments I get aren't even from Twitch. They're from you. TikTok has some of the nastiest trolls I have ever seen. But it's that reach is like so good. Like, I would not give up TikTok because there's just, I should be posting on there way more. I want to post more like art content on there. Let me recenter this. I'm sorry. I was like so into it. I was like pushing the art piece. No, yeah, everyone here on YouTube is really nice too. Maybe I've just been really lucky, but I don't know. No complaints from moi. Bruh, TikTok either has like the nicest people or the not nicest people. There's no in between. I'm gonna do a dark blue so it brings in the blue from the eyes, but has the lightest blue still pop out as an accent along with the scarf, I think is what I'm gonna do. But I want the hair to have a contrast to it. Contrast does not just have to be color. It could also be value. Contrast helps things stand out, basically. I just need to flood the background with some sort of color. You feel me? Maybe like a gradient, like the eye. Maybe not. Just a little bit more saturation, I think, would be good. Anywho's, Facebook is great, but do be prepared for like nonsense. Since you are new, and this goes for Twitch and Facebook as well, this is like both of those platforms. Anything you make in 1 month will be paid the month after, and they will only be paid out after a certain threshold is met. So if you don't make $100 in 1 month, you won't get paid out the next month at all, and then they will combine it. I usually paint on Tuesdays. I've been thinking of doing Friday nights as well until I get more D&D content up. I need to make PNG tubes for all of the D&D characters for that to work properly, and then reach out to the characters, people who play the characters. But that's gonna be like a long time from now, so until then, I'm thinking of doing Friday nights. Not this week, because this week is all out of whack because I'm doing different stuff the next 2 weeks, which is very out of the ordinary. You found me in a very inconsistent spot, Josh. I'm so sorry. But yeah, consistently I do YouTube from 11. I typically do 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., which for you would be, let's see, 11, 12, 1, 2. For you would be 2 to 6. And then I do Mario Kart from 6 to 9 my time, which would be 9 to midnight your time, I think. Wait, did I get that wrong? 6 to 9 would be 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 9 to midnight for EST. That's my normal Tuesday. I do it once a week. Sometimes, the last time I went on Friday night, we blew up, which was really interesting. So I wanted to see if I could replicate that again. So that was 6. That was 6 to 9. Yeah, that was 6 to 9 on Friday. So I would do that again, probably in October when I'm back from Google. Really great question. I typically post my schedule on Mondays in the Discord, as well as the cover photo on Facebook. I'm correct? Okay, yeah. Yeah. Great questions. Oh yeah, so the threshold for both Twitch and Facebook is, what's it called? It's $100. In some countries, Twitch is making the change to make it be $50 for your threshold payout, but the US is not listed under those countries yet. Yeah, Beth sent, yeah, she did mention that she sent it to you, but for the future, in case she doesn't send it to you, you can just look at my facebook.com/shenanigans of Angie, just my Facebook page. You can always look at my link tree, which is pinned, and you can just check there as well. Or if you go to the announcements, you can click any of the Facebook ones and it'll take you to the page. All good questions. Okay. I think these areas are dry. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take my rubber eraser and I'm actually gonna go over the frisk and see how it like peels it off. And then I'm going to take my, yeah, see it took it off and now it's just that white underneath. You have to be very, very careful with this. You gotta be really gentle when you do this or you could rip the color around it. And then I'm gonna soften it up with my small detail brush. Haha, see? That makes this make so much more sense. Same thing with this. And then the eyes. Oh yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. Look at those eyes pop. Oh, the other one? Here you go, Manda. We can have this on the side while I'm working on the anime. Here it is. All I have to do is ask. Oops, sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna soften up this a little bit. It did turn out nice. I'm pleasantly surprised. I was a little worried about that project for a little bit. I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna turn out. Maybe one day, maybe if the people want to like add on post, then maybe I could send it. I don't know. Because that would require Marcus or I to go to the post office, and then that like compromises our health situation since I'm immunocompromised and all that stuff. It's just scary. Yeah, I thought I was gonna regret this highlight on this part of the chin a little bit, but I'm really glad I actually added it there because it looks really nice. Okay. So now this piece, we're gonna do the peel. Oh no! Curses. Okay, when you when you paint something, you shouldn't. Here's a trick. You can wet it to pull up the pigment. As long as it hasn't been dry, but I don't know how long that's been there, and I don't know how dry it is. It's pretty dried in there. If it's still wet, you can still do that. Unfortunate. Oh, I'm just talking out loud, Manda. I'm considering it. I have all of the art pieces. I haven't sent out any. Yeah, that's why I was like, maybe I could do that, but then I like was going back and forth about it. Send me your address. Send me your address and then we'll look at what it is and you can tell me if you think it's gonna be worth it or not, and then I'll take a look. Because your piece was actually really, yours was for an anniversary present. For other things that are just like random anime people, I don't mind hanging on to, because it's like, oh yeah, I can just show this on my YouTube and then like call it a day as an example, you know? But, it's literally like a family portrait just like hanging out in my house. Yeah, DM it to me. We'll just look over options, and then because there are some places I do go to, but I strategically schedule myself in places where my break is dead. It like public places are dead. So like, for example, 2 in the afternoon on a Monday, most people are at work. So sometimes like we can drive and then Marcus can like peek through the door, and sometimes the shop will be completely empty. I feel comfortable doing that. So I don't know. We'll see. We can try and see if there's ever a dead zone of time for the post office, and then maybe we can do that, because we're talking about like 2 years of artwork. My drawers are just piling up with like people's requests. Anywho's, let's see. I think this is done for the most part. I think there are other things I could have done better. This is just like the artist speaking again. The artist part. That part. It's like you finish and you're like, I hate it. I think maybe if I like go in with a little bit of like, ooh, that's nice. Yeah, one thing is I feel like this scarf is too flat. So I'm adding a little bit of black here just to like, ooh, is that blue? What on earth? That's okay though, because that's like kind of anime-y like too, where they use, especially like blues and purples, for some whatever reason they shade with blue. It's kind of nice, I kind of like that. This is a happy accident, because I thought that was black. Like for real, I thought that was black. But it wasn't. And it ties in with the background too. That looks a lot better. Give yourself an A+, Josh. Okay. Let's get like actual black for some of these sections of the hair where there should be like a lot of shade that I couldn't go darker. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. And then we can make like these actual strands. There we go. See, a lot of it is just going like, what about this piece bothers me so much? One, I don't feel like there's enough strands in the hair, so I'm gonna add some more strands. Again, staying within the realm of the shape of the lock, but splitting it will make it look more anime realistic and semi, you know what I'm talking about. Semi-realistic, semi-surrealism. That's what I was trying to think of. I'm like, what am I talking about? What are words? Words are hard. There's like no depth on the bang, so I'm gonna add a little bit. I'm really glad you're enjoying the like chill art vibes. I was really starting to question if I should continue doing this, and this is very validating, so thank you. It's always really frustrating whenever something has like taken off before and then you're like just sitting here going like, I have to start over with this again on a new platform. Am I even like doing this right? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I think I want more strand. There we go. There should be like another strand here somewhere, but we need more contrast to make this strand happen. And then like under the ear. There we go. And then there's actually this little corner here that I didn't notice that I'm glad I noticed right now. Woohoo! Great. Okay, now for real, I'm gonna like let it dry for a bit. Like the one I'm doing right now, if it's just your fish, did you want like, so that's just one thing. Did you want your fish with like a flat background? Flat backgrounds, like just a flat color like this, are free. So you would just choose a color. But if you wanted me to do like the background of a fish bowl, so something kind of like a little bit more of an involved like background, but like a fish instead, just add background to it. Or you could do it digital and I could send it to you digitally as well. You've seen me do digital stuff. It's basically like the emotes and things. I can do like this painted, well, I don't know if I can do painted, but I can do like different styles. It doesn't have to be emote style for it to be digital. No, fish in the tank with decorations. I would do background and fish. So what would that be? So Kofi commission, traditional art, background, and then there's no extra character because it's just a fish. That would be $70. Are you okay with that? Because the background is one of the most complicated things. The background doubles the price. Because there's a lot of attention that goes into backgrounds. There's also just sketches for 15. A lot of fun stuff. Did you need the link for my Ko-fi again? You can click the link tree pin comment here and then it'll take you to my link tree and it's the top one. Yes, I need to save it. Okay, perfect. And you know what? That actually helps a lot, especially with like the medical expenses coming up and, you know, like I mentioned, I'm just doing this and kind of have my hands tied, and I really appreciate all the people I've met on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube and everyone's support. Just trying to live. All right, I think it's dry, so let's go ahead and do a peel. There's just something very appealing about this process. Okay, I'll stop. Ooh. I have your Ko-fi saved on my laptop. Oh my gosh, Manda, stop it. Do you really? That's so awesome. Thank you. That's really neat. I like this so far. It's been a really long time since I've drawn this character. I liked making very simple anime characters. I liked kind of the slice of like life aspect, and I wanted my characters to be very like believable. Ooh. I'm really glad that I realized the ratio for my artwork was just post-it note size. It's so funny. Oh well. Thanks, Manda. That means a lot. Isn't it so nice to be able to see like the Ko-fi streams too? You came in and you're like, hey, I know what this is for. Oh, sorry, I booped you, chat. I booped you. Rookie move. All right. Now from here, I'm gonna take off the pencil gradients. the graphite on the sides. Oh wait, is there a piece of... There's a piece of Frisk still here. Be gone with you. Okay. Here we go. We've got artwork number 2. My original character I made in middle school, Hana. And then we have the watercolor. Efrain, hey! 2 very different styles. One is like a more realistic painting, and then this one's like anime. Very, very fun. You just caught the tail end of the stream. Wow, I had to do this for an extra 40 minutes. It's bonkers. All right. I'm so glad you were able to catch even the end. Then you're able to see the final products at least. It takes a lot of practice. These were both done with watercolor, which is really, really fun. All right, friends. It is high time I ended the stream so I can get something to eat and then change my setup for Facebook as opposed to YouTube. You have trouble drawing a straight line? Sometimes I get that way too. I'm not even kidding. This was me practicing my lines. I did this on stream because I was gonna line art this one and I didn't feel confident in my lines. Sometimes your hands need to warm up just like, and it takes time to like wake up. So warm-ups definitely help. Until next time, let's talk about where you can find me next. Stream time is over, it's time to say goodbye. Yeah, stream time is over, it's time to say goodbye. Goodbye, Shenanigans. Next time on Shenanigans, we will be playing Mario Kart 8 on Facebook Gaming in about 1 hour and 20 minutes. This is a stream where you can get badges. Just like that. For those of you who are wondering how and when people get to request artwork from me, it is the people who earn a certain amount of badges. We do individual as well as team. So if you have not yet joined our Discord, you can click on the link tree. And then from there, make sure you chose a role. For example, Josh is in Team Foxes. And I will be updating the current leaderboard in about 2 days. I update it in the middle of the month and at the end of the month. The team with the most badges at the end of the month, they all get to request a piece of artwork. I might have to make some adjustments because the leaderboard is kind of getting a little out of hand. Also, any person that gets over 100 badges, that might also adjust as well. If you make it to All-Stars and you get a request from individual badges, you only leave 20 behind for your team. We have that as a way of balancing things, because we have some people that come to every single stream and play every single game and they have something ridiculous like over 600 badges, and that just wouldn't be fair. You know what I mean? Because then that team would be the one that wins like all the time, and that's like not the point. But anyways, we'll see you later in about an hour. Let's play some Mario Kart. If not, if you can't make it tonight, I have Mario Kart again tomorrow morning, and you can always check the schedule. I will have more streams in the weekend as well. I have things scheduled for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I will update the schedule again on Thursday because I stream a lot. I think it'd be easier to just focus on 3 days at a time. All right, capiche? Capash? Good night. Rest well. Thank you for being here. I love you. Bye.